There's a dangerous illusion that lingers in modern society. The idea that moderate to heavy alcohol consumption is simply a lifestyle choice, a personal indulgence with manageable consequences. But new research exposes a far darker truth. Heavy drinking doesn't just erode liver health or shorten lives, it quite literally damages the brain, leading to irreversible changes in cognition, memory, and long-term brain function. A major study published in Neurology has revealed the disturbing consequences of consuming 8 or more alcoholic drinks per week. That threshold, not particularly high by modern social standards, is now associated with a significantly higher risk of brain lesions known as hyaline arteriolosclerosis. These aren't abstract medical terms. They refer to physical injuries in the brain's small blood vessels, injuries that reduce blood flow, damage brain tissue, and set the stage for memory loss, cognitive impairment, and potentially neurodegenerative disease. The findings are especially grim for those who believe quitting alcohol might undo the damage. The study found that former heavy drinkers, those who had consumed large amounts of alcohol earlier in life but stopped, also showed serious consequences. Their brains revealed not only a higher presence of these vascular lesions, but a disturbing increase in tau tangles, the toxic protein clumps associated with Alzheimer's disease. Even more alarming, they had reduced brain mass and performed worse on cognitive assessments, suggesting that the damage may persist long after the drinking stops. This study, which examined brain tissue from nearly 1,800 individuals after death, gives a rare and intimate look at the internal aftermath of long-term alcohol use. It's not just about blurred speech or poor decision-making during intoxication. The scars left behind are physiological, visible signs of decay in the very structures that regulate thought, memory, and identity. Those who drank heavily during their lifetimes were found to have 133% higher odds of these vascular lesions than people who never drank. Former heavy drinkers weren't far behind, with an 89% increase. Even moderate drinkers, defined as those consuming fewer than 8 drinks per week, had a 60% increase. These numbers aren't marginal, they are a public health red flag. The implications stretch far beyond the individual. Alcohol is celebrated in our culture, embedded in celebrations, relaxation routines, social bonding, and marketed endlessly as the reward for a long day. Yet here we see how these seemingly harmless rituals may be contributing to a national crisis in brain health. With an aging population and rising dementia rates, these findings paint a grim future, one in which our collective drinking habits are accelerating cognitive decline across generations. And while the study stops short of declaring causation, the biological plausibility is rock solid. Damaged blood vessels, reduced brain mass, elevated tau protein. These are well-established pathways to cognitive breakdown. When these factors show up more frequently in heavy drinkers, the connection becomes hard to dismiss as coincidence. Perhaps the most jarring statistic of all, heavy drinkers died, on average, 13 years earlier than non-drinkers. That is not a small loss. That's more than a decade of life gone. And for what? The illusion of stress relief, the numbing of modern pressures, the false promise of pleasure in a glass? Alcohol is perhaps the most socially acceptable neurotoxin available. No warnings on the bottle, no vivid images of brain damage like we see on cigarette packs, and no meaningful limitations on advertising. We cheer for it at parties, gift it on holidays, and associate it with success, romance, and sophistication, all while it slowly eats away at our most vital organ. This research should be a turning point, a moment to confront the long-ignored reality that alcohol is doing lasting harm to our brains. Not just in cirrhosis wards or rehab centers, but silently, invisibly, across society. A drink here, a few there, and over time, the cumulative damage builds up. Lesions, tangles, tissue loss. A decline that starts in the bloodstream and ends in confusion, disorientation, and premature death. The message couldn't be clearer. Heavy drinking is not benign. It is not a lifestyle quirk. It is a neurological hazard, quietly degrading the minds of millions under the guise of normalcy. It's time to stop pretending that alcohol is harmless in moderation and start recognizing it for what it truly is, a slow, widely accepted poison with a smile on the label.